Previously on She Built Different. Previously, 16-year-old honors student Jasmine "Jazz" Carter from Meridian, Mississippi, became pregnant and was quietly pushed off the honors track by a school system ready to write her off. With her mother Loretta's support and teacher Angela Price's refusal to let her quit, Jazz finished high school while raising her newborn son, Zion. Locked out of formal childcare by impossible waitlists and costs, she built her own tiny, informal trading system among other teen mothers, and started a notebook titled, "The System That Doesn't Exist." At community college, a classmate named Sam Okafor looked at that notebook and saw something she hadn't yet dared to call it: a company. This episode, Jazz and Sam start building the first real version of the idea after hours, on borrowed equipment and no sleep, and take it in front of a room full of people who have already decided what a teenage single mother from Mississippi is and isn't capable of building. Jazz and Sam start prototyping after the lab officially closes, using a janitor's sympathy and a spare key. The community college computer lab officially closed at 9. Jasmine Carter and Sam Okafor were usually still there at 11, thanks to a janitor named Mr. Dell who decided their project was more interesting than his rulebook. Sam handled the code. Jazz handled everything the code needed to actually work for someone like her, what a real mother trading real hours actually needed the screen to show. Neither of them called it a startup yet. They called it the thing, and worked on it like it already mattered. With no printer paper at home, Jazz drafts flowcharts on the blank end papers of Zion's board books. Loretta is skeptical of the app thing. There was no printer paper in the Carter house that month, so Jasmine Carter drew her first user flowchart on the blank end paper of one of Zion's board books, the toddler asleep beside her on the couch. Loretta watched her daughter chase a screen instead of sleep for the third night running and finally said what she'd been holding back. "You already did the impossible thing once, baby. You don't have to do a second one." Jasmine kissed her mother's forehead and kept drawing. Daycare aid by day, gas station register by evening, code by 2 a.m. Exhaustion becomes routine. That year had a rhythm to it. Daycare aid from 7 to 3, gas station register from 4 to 9, Zion to bed by 9:30, and code until whenever her eyes gave out, usually around 2. Jasmine Carter ran on drive-through coffee and stubbornness. She missed birthdays. She missed sleep. What she did not miss was a single night of work on the thing she and Sam were building, because for the first time since the loan officer at the bank had said no to her grandmother's kind of family, she was building the yes herself. A rough beta version of the app replaces the group text. 10 local mothers start using it to trade verified childcare hours. The first version of the app was ugly and occasionally crashed, but it did one thing the group text couldn't. It let a mother post exactly when she needed care, and it matched her automatically with someone nearby who had hours to trade. 10 women in Meridian used it that first month. One of them, a 19-year-old working a double shift, texted Jasmine at midnight, "This is the first time in a year I didn't have to beg somebody for a favor." Jasmine read that message 4 times before she could sleep. Marcus Davenport, now working a warehouse job, shows up wanting to be part of Zion's life again, complicated by years of absence and unresolved guilt. Marcus Davenport showed up in the Carter driveway on a Saturday morning, older, quieter, a warehouse job on his hands instead of a football scholarship. He said he wanted to know his son. Jasmine Carter didn't slam the door, but she didn't make it easy either. 3 years of missed calls had taught her that wanting wasn't the same as showing up. "You get to try," she told him. "You don't get to be forgiven yet. Those are different things." It was the most honest sentence either of them had said to the other in years. A local TV segment on Young Innovators goes wrong when the app crashes live on camera. A local news producer heard about the Teen Mom coding project and wanted 3 minutes for a feel-good segment. Jasmine Carter rehearsed her demo 40 times. On camera, in front of a rolling tripod and a patient but visibly disappointed reporter, the app froze on the matching screen and stayed frozen. Sam mouthed "Restart it" from off-camera. It was, by any measure, a small humiliation. It also taught Jasmine something she'd use for the rest of her career: build for the worst day, not the best one. Sam gets a stable job offer from a regional tech firm and seriously considers taking it, leaving the project behind. 2 weeks after the crash, Sam Okafor got a real offer: salaried, benefits, a title that would make his mother proud on a phone call home. He sat with the offer letter for 3 days before telling Jasmine he was thinking about taking it. "I believe in this," he said. "I also have to eat." It wasn't betrayal. It was math, the same kind of math Jasmine had been fighting against her whole life, just wearing a different face. Jazz doesn't beg Sam to stay. She shows him the growing user numbers and lets the mission make its own case. Jasmine Carter didn't argue with Sam's math. Instead, she slid her laptop across a diner table and showed him something new: 43 users now, 3 counties, and a message thread of women thanking each other for hours that used to cost money they didn't have. "I'm not going to tell you what to choose," she said. "I'm going to tell you what happens if you don't." Sam looked at the numbers for a long time. Then he turned the laptop back around and started typing. Jazz wins a modest $10,000 community innovation grant and formally incorporates the company for the first time, BrightPath. A $10,000 community innovation grant is not venture capital. It is also not nothing, and to Jasmine Carter, standing in a modest room at Meridian City Hall holding an oversized ceremonial check, it was the first outside dollar anyone had ever bet on her idea. She used part of it to file incorporation papers that same week. She named the company BrightPath, for the notebook, for Zion, for every mother whose path had been anything but clear. It was official now. It also had almost no money left. Dr. Evelyn Moss, a retired childcare policy scholar turned impact investor, quietly observes Jazz present at a regional showcase. Dr. Evelyn Moss had spent 30 years studying why American childcare policy failed the families who needed it most, and the last several writing checks to try to fix pieces of it herself. She wasn't scheduled to be at the regional pitch showcase in Jackson. A colleague had dragged her. She watched a 22-year-old from Meridian describe a problem she had spent her career studying, in language sharper than most of the economists she knew. Dr. Moss did not raise her hand to ask a question. She simply wrote a name in her notebook and underlined it twice. Jazz and Sam prepare for a state-level startup competition with real prize money and real investor attention, working out of a converted spare bedroom. The Mississippi State Innovation Challenge came with a $25,000 top prize and, more importantly, a room full of people who could open doors BrightPath couldn't open on its own. Jasmine Carter and Sam Okafor prepared out of a converted spare bedroom in the Carter house, rehearsing the pitch until Zion, now 3, could recite parts of it from memory. "We're not just pitching an app," Jasmine told Sam the night before. "We're pitching that people like us are allowed to build things too." A panel of judges questions Jazz's credibility outright, her age, her lack of a business degree, her personal history, before she's even finished her opening line. She was 2 sentences into her pitch when a judge interrupted. "How old are you? And where's the MBA in this room?" A ripple of uncomfortable laughter moved through the panel. Jasmine Carter did not flinch and did not raise her voice. "I'm 22, she said. "I don't have an MBA. I have a notebook with 200 names of women this industry failed, and I built the only product in this room that any of them have actually used." The room went quiet in a different way. Jazz presents hard data on how many working women are locked out of the workforce by childcare gaps, turning skepticism into attention. Jasmine Carter clicked to her next slide. A single number, 400,000, the estimated number of Mississippi women who had left or turned down work in the past year because they could not find or afford childcare. "That's not a pitch deck statistic," she said. "That's my mother's coworkers. That's the 10 women who trusted a 19-year-old with a spiral notebook before anyone with a badge like yours would return her calls." Nobody interrupted her again. BrightPath places second, losing the top prize to a flashier product, but Dr. Evelyn Moss approaches Jazz privately afterward. BrightPath placed second. The top prize went to a slicker product with a slicker deck and none of its real user base. Jasmine Carter was still absorbing the loss in the convention center lobby when a tall, silver-haired woman in a cream blazer approached and introduced herself as Dr. Evelyn Moss. "You didn't win the room," Dr. Moss said. "You won something harder. You made a room full of skeptics uncomfortable with their own assumptions. That's rarer." She handed over a business card. "Call me Monday." Jazz sits in her car after the event, turning the business card over in her hands, unsure whether to believe her luck. Jasmine Carter sat in her car in the convention center parking garage long after the lobby had emptied, turning Dr. Moss's card over and over in her hands like it might change what it said if she looked at it enough times. She thought about the loan officer who told her grandmother no in 4 minutes, about the daycare waitlists, about a judge asking where her MBA was. She thought about Monday. Then she put the car in drive, and for the first time in a long time, she let herself believe something good was actually about to happen. You are watching the Dawn Film Vault. To stay informed on what transpired in the next episode, subscribe now to be updated when the next episode drops.